Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are tackling, well, maybe the most profound quest in Vedic philosophy, moksha.
Liberation.
Exactly. Liberation from that whole endless cycle of birth, death, reincarnation. It's the ultimate goal, you know, that fundamental freedom.
It really is the great exit strategy. And for anyone who's looked into this, it's often described as this long, difficult journey, like climbing a mountain.
Right. But the sources we're looking at today, and we're talking foundational texts like the Brahmanda Purana, the Vishnu Purana, they suggest something. Well, something extraordinary.
They do. They suggest there's a single day, a day that is divinely calibrated, you could say, specifically to grant that liberation.
It's like a spiritual shortcut almost.
That day is Mokshada Ekadashi. And what really makes this interesting, what elevates this whole discussion, is this amazing synergy it has. Because this specific Ekadashi, the giver of liberation, it always falls on the same day as Gita Jayanti.
So you're not just getting the practice, the spiritual cleansing. You're getting the instruction manual and the supercharged vehicle to do it all at the same time.
That's it.
So our mission today is to unpack that powerful combination. We'll look at the claims and really try to understand why this is seen as a guaranteed path. Okay, so let's start with the story. Where does this day get its power?
We have to start with the origin story. It just beautifully sets up the whole mechanism of the day, this idea of transferred spiritual merit.
Okay.
And the narrative comes from the Brahmanda Purana, which, for our listeners, is one of those ancient texts covering, history, cosmology, spiritual instructions, all of it.
And it's a conversation between Lord Krishna and King Yudhishthira, right? But the main character is another king, Vaikhanasa.
Yes, King Vaikhanasa. And by all accounts, he's a great king. Totally righteous, successful, kingdom's thriving, but he's haunted.
Not by an enemy or anything like that?
No, nothing external. It was a psychological, a spiritual torment. He kept having this vivid, recurring dream.
What was a dream?
In the dream, he saw his own father, who had passed away, suffering. Just suffering immensely in a hellish condition.
Wow. I mean, imagine that. You're living a perfect, pious life, and every single night, you're shown your own ancestor in total agony.
It would be crushing. So he's distraught, he's desperate, and he goes to see the great sage, Parvata Muni. And I think what's important is that he's not just asking for the dreams to stop. He wants a spiritual diagnosis.
He wants to know why.
Exactly. And the sage confirms it, he meditates, and yes, the terrible truth is that the father is suffering. And it's because of a major sin from a past life.
Ah, so this is where it shifts. It goes from just being about karma to being about, well, divine mercy.
Right, because from a purely karmic standpoint, what can you do? It's a past life, the action is done.
So what was the solution the sage gave him?
It was so simple, but so powerful. He didn't say, you need to go do some massive penance for the next 30 years. He told King Vaikhanasa to observe a strict fast.
On which day?
On the Ekadashi of the waxing moon, in the month of Margashirsha.
Which for us is around November or December. And Ekadashi is the 11th day of the lunar cycle.
Correct. But there was a really crucial condition. The king couldn't just do it alone.
Oh, interesting.
He had to persuade all of his subjects to observe the fast with him. The idea was that the spiritual merit, the punya from this huge collective observance, that was the key.
So he does it, the whole kingdom fasts. And what happens?
The source claims the accumulated spiritual power was just overwhelming. It instantly liberated his father, just like that. Freed from suffering, and he attained a transcendental form.
And that's where the name comes from, Mokshada, giver of liberation.
That's it. It sets this precedent that the power you generate on this day isn't just for you. It's like a transferable spiritual currency. It can override even severer karma for someone else.
Which brings us right to the next big question.
Yeah.
The story is about moksha, freedom from suffering. But is that the final destination? Is that the end of the road?
That is the perfect question to ask, because if we look at the broader theology, especially from the ISKCon sources we've seen, moksha it's the essential first step. It's getting out of the material world. It's the end of suffering, absolutely.
But not the beginning of, say, ultimate joy.
Precisely. The ultimate goal, the soul's actual purpose, is defined as prima bhakti, pure, selfless, eternal love for God, for Sri Krishna. Moksha is what you need to clear the deck. It gets rid of the contamination so the soul can finally focus on that loving relationship.
So Mokshada Ekadashi is giving you the platform.
It's giving you the platform. It's not just about escaping hell like it was for the king's father. It's about opening the door to the highest possible spiritual life.
So how do the Puranas try to quantify this merit to make us understand how powerful it is?
They use a really staggering comparison. The Vishnu Purana says that observing this one Ekadashi gives you the same spiritual merit as giving away 1,000 cows in charity.
1,000 cows. I mean, in that ancient context, that's immense wealth. That's generations of stability you're giving away.
It's unbelievable generosity. But what's so fascinating is how the source immediately pivots from that. It says, yes, you get the merit of 1,000 cows, but the real benefit, the critical part, is that the fast cleanses the soul so thoroughly that you become eligible to walk the path of pure devotion.
I see what they're doing there. It's like saying even the biggest act of material charity you can imagine. It can't compare to the internal cleansing that happens on this one day. The spiritual gain is just on another level.
It makes the invisible visible. It's like you're getting a stamp of approval, an eligibility stamp for bhakti. All those lingering material desires that would get in the way, they're wiped clean.
Okay, let's talk about the synergy then. If this Ekadashi is the powerful vehicle, why is it so important that it happens on the same day as Gita Jayanti? What makes that a guaranteed formula?
Well, it's not a coincidence. It's like a profound divine scheduling. Gita Jayanti is the anniversary of the moment Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna right on the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
It's the day the ultimate instruction manual for life, for liberation, was delivered by the Supreme Lord himself.
So you have the Bhagavad Gita giving you the theoretical knowledge. It's the map of the spiritual world. It's the why and the how.
And Mokshada Ekadashi provides the practical power, the spiritual momentum. It's the vehicle.
It is the vehicle. The source puts it so well. Fasting on this day while hearing the Gita is like getting the map and the keys to the car at the exact same moment.
That really makes it tangible. But you can read the Gita any day. Why is this particular combination so potent?
It comes down to receptivity. Our minds, our hearts, they're cluttered. All the material desires, the karmic dust. The fast on Ekadashi is designed to quiet all of that down.
You're creating a vacuum intentionally.
Exactly. You cleanse the heart with the fast and you make it fertile ground. So when the seed of knowledge, the Gita's message, is planted in that prepared heart on that specific day, it just takes root instantly. The energy of the Ekadashi amplifies your ability to hear and absorb the Gita's wisdom 1,000 times over.
So it's less a miracle and more about spiritual mechanics. It's creating the absolute optimal setting for that philosophy to transform you.
The map and the purified vehicle, ready to go.
Okay, let's get practical. Moving from the why to the how. If someone is inspired by this, how is the day actually observed? What do devotees do to really maximize this opportunity?
It's one of the most focused days of the year for sure. It's a mix of solemnity and real joy. We can break it down into 4 main pillars that are all happening at once.
And pillar 1 has to be the fast, the strict fast. What's the structure of that?
The structure is key. It's a total fast from all grains and beans. The whole idea is to minimize material absorption. Grains and beans are seen as carrying a denser material energy that can agitate the mind.
So by avoiding them, you're simplifying things physically so you can focus mentally.
You got it. It maximizes that receptivity we were talking about. Many devotees will go further, maybe just liquids, or even a completely dry fast to really sharpen their focus.
And that physical effort creates the perfect state for pillar number 2, which is the Gita Jayanti celebration itself.
That's right. The whole day in temples is just focused on the scripture. It's very common to have a special reading of the entire Bhagavad Gita, all 18 chapters, like a marathon session.
Wow.
Yeah, and devotees might take a personal vow, I'll read 5 chapters today, or I'll listen to the entire discourse. It's an immersion, an intellectual and spiritual marathon.
So you're purifying the body with the fast and feeding the soul and the intellect with the philosophy.
And to keep that purified mind totally engaged, you have pillar 3. Increased Sankirtan.
More chanting.
A lot more. Increased japa, which is the personal mantra repetition on beads, often doubling or tripling your normal amount. And more kirtan, the big congregational chanting. The goal is just total saturation. You fast to cleanse, you read to understand, and you chant to let the heart completely absorb it.
That's a really comprehensive approach. And finally, the 4th pillar, which ties it all back to that original story of King Vaikanasa.
It's maybe the most moving part. The prayers for ancestors. Following the king's example, devotees will offer their prayers and dedicate the merit they've earned from their practice to their departed relatives.
So it shifts from being just about your own salvation.
Completely. It becomes an act of service. It's believed that the huge amount of spiritual merit generated on Mokshada Ekadashi is powerful enough to offer real relief, real advancement to souls who might be suffering from their karma.
That's a deeply compassionate element.
Yeah.
It means your spiritual success on this day isn't just yours. You can share it.
It totally redefines spiritual self-interest, doesn't it? You're using this day not just for your own purification, but for the benefit of your whole family, your whole community.
So this entire deep dive, it's really shown that Mokshada Ekadashi isn't just some ancient story. The sources treat it as a functional reality, a day when the gates are just wide open for spiritual breakthrough.
It's the path back to Godhead, brightly lit. The purification from the fast powers you, and the wisdom of the Gita guides you. It removes the ignorance and gives you the push to act on that knowledge right away.
And as we close out, let's just go back to King Vaikanasa one last time. Because while the ultimate mission is our own relationship with Sri Krishna, his act fundamentally changed the spiritual state of someone else.
And if you think about that, if the real measure of success on this day isn't just how far you climb, but your ability to pull someone else up with you, like your own ancestor, out of suffering and onto that path, well, that profoundly changes how we define spiritual achievement.
It suggests that liberation is best when it's shared.
That's the ultimate thought. That's the real wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita in action. The giver of liberation is so different. What are those two pillars you mentioned?
So the first pillar is its historical significance, which gives it this immense weight.
Okay.
This is the day, recorded in all the sources, on which Lord Sri Krishna spoke the Srimad Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna.
Wow. So right on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, this is the birthday of the Gita, essentially.
It's the birthday of ultimate spiritual instruction.
Yeah.
It's that moment that divine knowledge descended to, resolve human confusion and despair.
Incredible. And the second pillar.
The second is the observance itself. This Ekadasi is famously named Mokshada for a reason. The sources promise it purifies the devotee of all their accumulated sinful reactions.
And it bestows moksha.
It bestows moksha,
Yeah.
the highest spiritual reward. It's directly tied to that ultimate release from the cycle of birth and death.
So our mission today is to go deep into that ancient history, specifically the account from the Brahmana Purana, which explains this phenomenal power. We need to understand the rituals, the theology behind it, and especially this remarkable story of generational deliverance that all hinges on this one day.
And before we even jump into that narrative, here's a really relevant nugget from the sources for you to hold on to.
Okay.
It specifically mentioned that gifting a copy of the Bhagavad Gita to a deserving person on this day, well, it's said to bestow profuse blessings from Sri Krishna Bhagavan.
So it's a day for sharing that knowledge, not just consuming it.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get into the origins. The context here is so important. We're listening in on a conversation between Lord Sri Krishna himself and Yudhishthira Maharaj.
A direct divine instruction.
Yes.
And Yudhishthira, who is the most righteous of the Pandava brothers, he approaches Krishna and asks a very specific question, really for the benefit of all of us.
What does he ask?
He asks about the Ekadasi that falls during the bright fortnight, the Shukla Paksha of the month of Margashirsha.
And just to clarify for everyone, Shukla Paksha is the waxing moon phase, which is considered very auspicious. And Margashirsha usually falls in late November or December.
Precisely. And Krishna, he praises the question itself, saying the inquiry is purifying. He names the day Mokshada.
And Yudhishthira then asks the practical questions, right? How do we observe it? Who do we worship?
Yes. The crucial next steps. And the worshipable deity for this day is identified as Lord Damodara, a specific form of Krishna.
Okay, Lord Damodara and the method.
The method requires full attention, and it includes traditional items, incense, a ghee lamp, fragrant flowers, and, very importantly, Tulasi manjaris.
Tulsi manjaris, the buds from the sacred basil plant. Why is that specific offering so highlighted?
Well, the whole Tulsi plant is sacred in the tradition, but the manjaris, the buds, are seen as the ultimate offering.
The fruit of devotion.
The fruit of devotion, exactly. Offering them on this day signifies you're offering the very best of your spiritual harvest to the Lord. It really emphasizes devotion over just, empty ritual.
And this is where the benefits just go through the roof. Krishna makes this absolutely stunning claim about what happens if you simply listen to this history.
This is the part that, it really stretches the imagination. Krishna says that just by hearing the ancient auspicious history of Mokshada Ekadashi,
Just by listening to the story.
just by listening, you immediately get the merit of performing an Ashvamedha yajna.
Wow. A horse sacrifice. And for context, that was the grandest, most elaborate, most expensive ritual in ancient India.
It was the gold standard for spiritual merit. But the reward, it doesn't just stop with the listener.
Right.
Krishna reveals that this merit is so powerful, it can cause one's forefathers, mothers, sons, relatives, anyone suffering on a hellish planet.
Naraka.
Yes, on Naraka. It can cause them to turn around and ascend directly to the heavenly kingdom, to Svarga.
That concept of merit transfer is just. It's profound. The idea that my actions today can retroactively cleanse the karma of my ancestors.
It is. It connects your individual observance to the salvation of an entire lineage. And that sets the perfect stage for the story of King Vaikanasa, which shows this exact mechanism in action.
All right, let's dive into that narrative. Tell us about the city and the king.
The story takes place in the city of Champakanagar. It depicted as this beautiful, idyllic place, just full of devoted Vaishnavas.
And the ruler.
The ruler was Maharaj Vaikanasa, a truly saintly king. The sources say he cared for his subjects as if they were his own children. The rule of dharma, of righteousness, was just. It was incredibly strong.
But this perfection gets shattered.
Completely shattered by a single terrifying vision.
A dream.
A profoundly disturbing nightmare. The king sees his own father, and he's not in some heavenly realm. He's suffering. He's experiencing these extreme tortures on a planet ruled by Yamaraj.
The deity of death and justice.
Yes. And the father is crying out specifically to him, "Oh, son, please deliver me."
And that just changes everything for Vaikanasa. He wakes up and what?
He wakes up, and all of his royal treasures, his vast wealth, his army, his wife, his sons, none of it brings him any pleasure.
It's all meaningless.
Completely. His distress is described as a scorching fire. So he gathers the learned Brahmins and asks them this deep theological question.
What can he do?
Right. What charity, what sast, what austerity, what meditation can possibly break this cycle of karma and deliver his father from this suffering?
And the Brahmins, they realize this is beyond their pay grade, so to speak.
They do. This isn't a standard ritual fix. They advise him to visit the great Saint Parvata Muni.
And this sage is described as living in a secluded mountain ashram, but he has a very specific quality.
He does, and it's crucial. Parvata Muni is described as Trikalajnani.
Trikalajnani, one who knows the past, the present, and the future.
Exactly. And that's essential, because the king can see the symptom, his father's suffering, but only a Trikalajnani can diagnose the root cause.
You have to know the specific sin to reverse the specific karma.
You have to. So Vaikanasa travels to the forest, and he prostrates himself before Parvata Muni.
And what happens at that meeting?
It's very formal, very reverent. Parvata Muni first asks about the welfare of the kingdom, the ministers, the treasury, the subjects.
Following proper protocol.
Right. Only after confirming the state of Dharma in the kingdom does the king finally reveal his personal, overwhelming grief.
And once he explains the dream, Parvata Muni meditates.
He closes his eyes and meditates, and he accesses his knowledge of the past, and he discovers the precise condemning sin.
What was it?
He discloses that in a previous life, the king's father had quarreled with his wife, and then, driven by selfish desire, he forcibly engaged in sexual relations with her while she was on her menstrual period. Despite her protests, her yelling, he didn't stop.
That is a very, very specific violation of traditional purity codes. Why was that act so grievous?
Well, it wasn't just about lust. It was the violation of a specific time and state of being, a disrespect for the divine feminine and the sanctity of the body. It's seen as a profound break from Dharma.
Which resulted in this immediate, severe karmic reaction that Yamaraj was enforcing.
Exactly.
So the king has the diagnosis now, the cure. How does he remove that burden?
He asks Parvata Muni directly, "How can I relieve this burden?" And the saint gives him the perfect divine prescription.
The link to Mokshada.
The link to Mokshada Ekadashi. He says, the solution is to strictly observe this sacred day with a full fast of Vrata.
Okay.
And then, after you fulfill the observance, you must take all the merit you've earned and directly give it to your suffering father.
So that transfer of merit is the key. It's not enough to just fast for himself.
No, the intention has to be perfect. The faith has to be perfect. It's a fast done specifically for the purpose of transferring that spiritual wealth.
So the king returns, and he waits for the day, the tithi, to arrive.
Yes, and when it comes, he observes the fast perfectly, along with his wife, his children, all his relatives. He's trying to maximize that spiritual bank account.
And the result? Was the deliverance immediate?
It was instantaneous and spectacular. As the king makes the formal offering of the merit, the sources describe beautiful flower petals just showering down from the heavens for the devas.
The demigods.
Yes, and his father was instantly delivered.
How did he see this happen?
Demigod messengers arrived and literally escorted his father out of Yamaraj's realm and up towards the celestial regions.
It's an incredible scene.
And as he ascended, he passed his son and called out, My dear son, all auspiciousness unto you. You have delivered me from hell.
Wow, just immediate generational salvation. But let's go back to that crucial distinction. The father went to the heavenly kingdom, to Svarga. But that isn't moksha, right?
That is the essential point. Svarga is a temporary reward. It's a place of enjoyment based on good karma, but when that merit runs out, you have to return. Moksha is permanent liberation.
So what was the father's final destiny then?
The sources are clear. The father, now free from hell and with his new merit, was in the heavenly realm where he could again perform devotional service to Krishna or Vishnu.
So it gave him a second chance?
It gave him a second chance at the ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
Mokshada didn't just save him from hell, it put him back on the path to return back to home, back to Godhead.
A beautiful distinction, which brings us back full circle to Krishna's final instruction to Yudhishthira.
Right, synthesizing the power of this day. Krishna concludes by promising that whoever strictly observes this sacred Mokshada Ekadashi,
Following all the rules.
following all the rules,
Yes.
they achieve full and perfect liberation after death. It's described as a sinless, perfectly transparent observance.
And to emphasize its power, he uses this magnificent metaphor.
He does. He says this fast is like Chintamani,
The wish-fulfilling jewel.
the legendary wish-fulfilling jewel. So by comparing the fast to this gem, Krishna is suggesting the merit is, well, it's boundless. It can fulfill your deepest spiritual desire.
Which for a true devotee is liberation itself.
Exactly. And so we circle back to those dual benefits we started with.
The external and the internal.
Precisely. The external benefit, which King Vaikhanasa demonstrated, is elevating your ancestors from hellish life.
Mm-hmm.
But the internal, ultimate benefit, for the person who observes it for their own spiritual growth, is that it elevates them all the way back to Godhead, so they never have to return to this material world.
So it's the perfect fusion of knowledge, the Gita in practice, the fast leading to release, to moksha.
The path and the destination become one. And that really leads us to a final provocative thought for you to consider.
Okay.
The king's story showed that one individual's action can directly impact others across different planes of existence.
Mm-hmm.
So this raises a profound question about karma. If karma is strictly individual, how is this kind of merit transfer even possible? And what does that suggest about how interconnected we all are? That maybe our spiritual destinies aren't nearly as isolated as we think.
A deeply compelling question. The spiritual economics of liberation. Thank you for sharing your sources and letting us unpack this incredible history.
It's always a pleasure. We hope this deep dive has enriched your understanding of the path to moksha.